Well, look at that. Look at that. All right. Everything is cockeyed. There we go. Okay. So I was like encouraged, we'll call it, to come on and do a reading. I had intentions to just do some pre-recordeds. And it is sorry guys. Um, but I felt like I had to go live. And then it was like there were several different like little things, you know what I'm saying? Um, there you go. That were coming through, but the gist of it was wrapping up Leo season. We have 5 days left if we include today. Now, where I'm at, we're still at the beginning of the day on the 18th. So it ends, the last day is the 22nd. So that being said, we have 5 days, and I don't know if there's like I don't know. There were several readings where it was like Leo season is important for something, blah, 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 blah. And so we're just gonna whatevs. I just gotta assume that it's something to do with that. So so let's get in, okay? Friendly reminder: you are a sovereign being. You get to determine if, how, when, where, why any of these messages might apply. So I suggest you don't Cinderella shit to make it fit, okay? Fantastic. And my electrolyte drink. Anybody else have to like I get ones that my son drinks electrolyte. Now I'm not sponsoring jack shit, and it has a bit more sugar and it makes it more bearable. But like some of these other ones, it's just salty, really salty, and so I have to add a little agave to it just to get it down. But I can tell you, I do a million times better when I hydrate appropriately. I don't know why I'm telling y'all. Okay. Great. Let's get in. Hope. Oh. Okay, that came. Hope, protection. There's a lot here. Prosperity, creation. Hope, protection, prosperity, creation. But these two cards go together. We've got devastation and skill. This has something to do with someone's belief in a talent that they have or a skill that they have. Like, it's giving the thing you're the best at can hurt the most. The thing you're best at can hurt the most. And that's because you have a strong connection to it. Because you pour aspects of yourself into it. Because it's a representation of who you are and what you contain within you. And I feel like the devastation is twofold. One, you perceive having experienced some level or form of devastation surrounding this skill. Like, I feel like saying I'm devastated. But also the fear that you may experience some level of devastation surrounding your abilities. The thing you're good at can hurt the most. But the message is that there's hope, that you are protected in this, that you can have prosperity through this creation. I feel a level of like someone like needing to be convinced of this. Needing to be convinced of this. We're gonna use Messenger Oracle deck. I had to turn. Look, I just went through this the other day. Every single deck I have. Went through it, made like 3 piles, made sure everything was upright, really like shifted the energies, like really thoroughly went through. And that one was still. And it has share your thoughts. Okay. So this very well may have something to do with your throat chakra, your expression is what I want to say. Your skill is an expression of yourself. So if you were to like, there's something around that where you feel it just hasn't gone the way you wanted to. It hurt in such a way that it felt devastating. Either it wasn't honored, acknowledged, valued, or you felt as if it wasn't valued, and so therefore a part of you is not valued. It's taken on as it's personal. It's a personal rejection. Um, I don't even think that necessarily this is a situation where this talent, skill, or this thing that you're the best at, you even necessarily attempt it as, say, a career. Because you get people who always would be like, don't do your passion as a career because then you lose your passion for it. This just feels as if it didn't feed back into you. And at some point you were like, why do I even do this? And so it's twofold. If the world around you doesn't accept your self-expression, as in even remotely acknowledge it, interact with it, or anything, you feel like you're just kind of talking or doing this into some kind of void. Um, that can hurt. But if you get attacked for whatever attacked means, your self-expression, that too can be devastating. Like I just get the why am I even doing it then? We have nourish the soul. It came out again. The one that was upside down that I share your thoughts. Because it's nourishing to your see, this is your sense of expression, this skill, this thing that you're really good at. It nourishes your soul. But if you feel like you're putting this out there into some kind of void where it just you know when you're in a canyon, at least when you put when you holler out, you hear the echo. But I know that there are certain areas, and I should look this up. There's places where you can speak and there's no echo. It's almost as if it sucks the sound and dampens it, and that's what it feels like just speaking into a void, expressing into a void for no real purpose. And there's something about that that's not nourishing to the soul. So there's something about your self-expression that is meant to be received by others, um, and even reflected back at times, or to be appreciated, or something about what you do is meant to nourish other people's soul. And unless that is happening, it doesn't nourish yours. And then we have surrender to the flow. Let's see what it says. Surrender to the flow. Know that you belong. You still feel called to it though, because again, it is a part of you. Whatever this thing that you're really good at, you are innately in it and it is innately in you. So it's one of those things where it's like you are not separate from it. And so there's just this need to, even when you feel like you're speaking into a vacuum, like it's, you know what I mean, and it goes nowhere. Even when you feel like what you're expressing is of no use, no importance, going nowhere, not ending up where it's intended, not being seen where it's meant to be seen, um, and not appreciated. There's this sense of equal parts pain from not expressing versus it not being received when you do express. Okay, and so there's this the surrender to the flow is, it's like the need to just let it be, whatever it is at this point. Let's take a look at these really quick. Make the sacrifice, wash away your burdens, a new day dawns. It's like allowing things to be what they were, as they are. Um, they keep wanting me to talk about the ebb and flow, or at least to mention that. Like the Six of Pentacles, there's going to be times that you receive and times that you do not. You're meant to express regardless. You're meant to keep going. I feel like saying the ramifications of not indulging in whatever this thing that you're really good at, this skill, this creation, this magic that you have, is more detrimental to your soul than speaking into the void. Um, but your human absolutely can feel rejected when whatever this is falls on deaf ears, right? Um, I think the surrender is really just talking about let let what was be, and not to project that into the future, not to assume you will just endure, encounter, or experience more devastation. Don't conjure up any stories as to what your expression is supposed to. Don't add any stories to the idea. Like, part of the devastation is the way in which you perceive Hangman, the lens at which you are seeing this through. I feel like it's more your human aspect. Um, when it feels rejected like this, it interprets it as rejection. Um, and when it feels rejected like this, it's embarrassing. Like you should be ashamed of this part of you because it's not valued by anybody else. And it's producing no value, according to you, in this world. And so that's where you're left, is there, it is of no value. Um, what I want to say is I've got a story of my son who's about to turn 22 next month. And when he was little, he has several different diagnoses: ADHD, OCD. Most recently, well, I say recently, but in the later part, like late, um, a lot of what was occurring was really autism. Um, and when he was little, we would go places like the McDonald's or to a Chick-fil-A, anywhere that had like a playground. And we would go there and spend some time, and there were no kids there when we got there. There was nobody, right? And I could only do so much. I couldn't crawl in some of the, some of those spaces. He would play, and then he'd come up to me and he was like, "Mommy, nobody likes me." And I was like, "What do you mean? I don't what?" And he was like, "Nobody wants to play with me." And I want you to think of like autism and the the way that they interpret social interactions and um, how they perceive scenarios. It had nothing to do. He perceived it as a rejection that there was nobody there, that nobody really wanted to play with him. That he, I was like, that has nothing to do with that. It's not a reflection on you. It's not that people don't. There's just nobody here right now. Um, he would internalize a lot of things. And I feel like this is kind of what they're talking about. He added the story, already has difficult time understanding social interactions and what it means and how to respond. He would have like 3 hour screaming fits sometimes. Like he just it didn't make sense, right? And I think that and so his brain would add the story that people just don't want to play with me then. And the only time he would say that is when we would go somewhere and nobody was there already. And that's kind of like what this is doing. You're adding a story to the idea or notion that you feel like whatever you're doing isn't being received, isn't being reciprocated, isn't being acknowledged, and it's having no real impact. That's the biggest piece. You feel as if it's having no real impact um, in a way that you feel is meaningful, in a way that is visible to you. And so you very well may be looking at something as contemplating the future of something. Is it worth it? Is it worth continuing to do this because it creates so much pain within me? Again, the thing you're the best at can hurt the most, right? Your greatest strength can be your greatest weakness. Um, so there's this projection that's happening because I want to say the lens at which you perceived the dynamics surrounding when you've expressed yourself, when you've indulged in this craft, this skill, this thing that you're really good at, um, it hurt because the story you added to it. And it's like they want me to go shy of saying, um, I hear a lot of people talk about how expectations are bad. You should have no expect. And I'm like, fucking goal is a goddamn expectation. Are you shitting me? Like, you won't ever. No, it's okay to expect certain things. My boundaries require me to have expectations of certain things. I expect X, Y, and Z from anybody that I interact with when I walk out of this fucking house. And if you cross that boundary, well, then there's consequences for it, right? Like the idea of the expectations are bad. Like, no, I understand the notion that if hold too hard to something that it can't flow in the capacity and manner that it should, I get that. But it's okay to have expectations. So you had expectations and maybe you feel like it was too lofty of an expectation that it's just not in the cards for me. So I feel as if saying like you have felt some sense of disappointment and embarrassment maybe or a level of shame surrounding this either because it wasn't received well because you felt like you were talking to a void or because you were attacked for or persecuted or shamed by other people for whatever this is. Again, likewise, when someone is willing to put themselves out on a limb like that to be seen, people will take the opportunity because how dare you be seen and not me, right? So, like some people just get triggered by that shit. And so you in some way received something that and you felt exceptionally disappointed, hurt, devastated to a certain degree. This could even be wrapped up in a particular like an incident, one singular incident. Whether it's an interaction with a person or like I just heard you wouldn't be that if it wasn't for me. Like when people try to take credit for something that you're really good at, something that for your creation, for your skill. You know, that alone can be so much can stem from that. Um, and you're projecting whatever that was into whether or not you will continue to do this. But there is I think you have experienced some level of like on again, off again, where you've indulged and you pull back and you indulge and you pull back. And I think you've noticed that it's not necessarily any better when you pull back. In fact, in some respects and to some degree, it feels worse. The experience is worse because you feel like you're shutting yourself down. You're shutting that aspect of yourself off, um, creating more reason to feel shame around it. Like it's not worthy, it's not valuable. Um, So you've come to the conclusion, or you've at least acknowledged the pattern that withholding isn't any better than putting it out there and feeling like it's not received and that it's not having impact. Um, and so I surrender to the flow is just surrender what was, surrender for what is, and know that you do belong. Okay, know that you do belong, and accept that a new day will dawn. And with a new day dawning is where I think the hope, protection, prosperity, and creation comes into play. It's still believing that something great can come from you engaging in this and being accepting and sharing whatever this is. All in all, you're protected. When indulging in and when sharing this. Nothing that really actually comes your way. I want to say anything that you received as a result of expressing yourself really by and large hasn't been devastating. It was just the story that your ego added to it that felt devastating, right? I just feel like getting to a place where obviously that wasn't your audience and who gives a shit what they think. It is not giving a shit about other people, your perception of other people's perception. Like giving no meaning to it whatsoever. Because no real actual harm from them running their mouth or saying something or disagreeing or acting snide, condescending, or anything else like that really fucking matters to you. And you are in total control. You can either listen to it or you can straight the fuck up ignore it as if it. There are people that will say shit, and I'm just like, you you don't even fucking matter to me. So therefore, what you say doesn't matter to me. Like the fact that you just needed such a dopamine hit in your mind that you had to get that nasty or that condescending is like, that's a you fucking thing. Like you might want to rearrange your life that you felt so compelled because you just needed to get it out. Like, wow. I mean, um, so you are protected. Nothing of real harm can come from any naysayers about what you're doing, okay, or about what you love. Even any critiques that come your direction. You can take what you want and leave the fucking rest. It is up to you. You don't have to give any type of credence. And the hope really is about understanding that this can be something that creates a level of prosperity in your life. And I think the sacrifice they're talking about is the ego, the willingness to be seen, and the sacrifice is doing it no matter what, whether it falls on deaf ears or is ridiculed or picked apart, because you don't have to stand there while somebody's doing that. You don't even have to fucking engage. They don't fucking matter, so what they say don't fucking matter. And so it's like it's the feel the fear and do it anyways, but it's the take the risk and do it anyways. I mean, the risk really isn't that great of a risk. And wash away any burdens. I just feel like saying, do the deed. Go for it. Make the sacrifice. Because there's something about why invest and put my energy and time into something if I'm going to experience devastation around it anyways. And it's like that's the sacrifice you make, right? That's the thing. Is either instant gratification or appeasing the ego or maybe giving up this notion of shame, feeling any kind of shame around it. I can't believe she's not even embarrassed. Well, I'm not. Like, I'm not going to let you convince me that I should be. I mean, again, there's some sense of sacrificing ego, a perception, um, or like I just feel like somebody wants to save face. You know what I mean? The idea of it hasn't happened yet, or I've experienced negative consequences that I deem negative, that really didn't do anything, right? And so I just want to save face. Fuck that. Fuck that egoic need to save face. Sacrifice that bullshit. Wash away those burdens. That's what you're sacrificing. Is this perception that you need to live up to something that you don't even give a shit about, really. You just believe you're supposed to give a shit. You're giving it meaning, and it has no meaning. Um, Medic tarot really quick. Queen of Wands. If only you stood in your power. Your sense of self-love, your sense of self-respect, and your truth are the only things that fucking matter. And when you sit in your power, those things take precedent over anybody else, over anything else. Queen of Wands is unmoved by others' projections, opinions, perceived appearances. You can't fucking tell her nothing. She's like, I know I'm motherfucking gorgeous. I don't care if Andrew Tate over there would say, bitch, I don't fucking care. You can't convince me otherwise. I'm sitting in my power. I'm standing in my truth, exercising my boundaries, and doing what the fuck I want to do because I fucking want to do it. And that's all that fucking matters. With the Four of Wands. You know what you're capable of. You know what you can do. You know the relationship you have with whatever this is. No other external energy should fucking matter. I promise you, the Queen of Wands does not give a shit. Not a shit. Not a one. Not one. Four of Wands is this sense of perfected work. When you're really just in your element, you shine, whether anybody's watching or not. There's a sense of self-pride no matter fucking what, whether you got the accolades or not. But the Four of Wands also feels like the establishment of something. Like the groundwork for this prosperity and this creation isn't in sharpening the skill, because this is something that's really innate. The foundation for prosperity and this creation is in you being the Queen of Wands. That's what gives this power. That's what ensures that this is going to blossom. See, for whatever has or hasn't occurred yet, for all the fears, Five of Cups, of what could go wrong, the only thing you need to turn this around is the Ace of Cups. The belief and love in yourself and in what you do, and knowing that it has intrinsic value because it's a part of who you are. And you are a part of it. And so therefore, in loving yourself, you will love it. Regardless. When you take the Five of Cups and you add one cup, the Ace of Cups, you step into the Six of Cups. That triggers something at a soul level. That is a soul level calling, but it is also turning things around. And it's almost as if it's the rose tinted glasses. It's having love for this again. It is seeing the possibilities and living into them. It is experiencing the pleasure that it can bring you again. It's the belief and hope that it's all worthwhile. And if you choose to reinvest in this, to go down this path, to step into it without giving a shit what others think. And again, sometimes nobody's thinking anything. You're talking into a void, and so then you're adding meaning, like, oh my God, this is so Who's embarrassed for what? Nobody's fucking watching. Why are you embarrassed? Some story that your ego is conjuring up, some imaginary part of the self that wants to be like, oh my God, how? Nobody fucking cares. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, if you choose to go down this Two of Pentacles, if you choose to walk down this path, because you could do this or you could not. Those are the two options. But if you go down this, you're ensuring a new beginning for yourself, the Page of Pentacles. Something will come of it. And they're just asking you to put a little love in yourself, because if you put a little love in yourself, you'll begin to put a little love into whatever this skill is, whatever this ability is, your expression. And something will start, something will begin. Just begin again is what I want to say. But this time from the space of the Queen of Wands. Anything else, Spirit? And when you pour into it, it will pour into you. Page of Cups is the thing that loves you back, that will blossom and grow. You nurture it because the fish pops out the cup. If you love it, it will be prosperous. But because it's a part of who you are, you need to be Queen of Wands. I love it and I love me, and can't nothing come between. Can't nothing tell me different. I feel no shame. I feel no embarrassment. Because to reject it is to reject a part of me. To be ashamed of it is to be ashamed of me. And fuck that shit. You love it, it will love you, and it will grow. And by proxy, you can love it by loving yourself. Anything else? The thing that stops you is the fear of missing out. Only you are. Because we have the Five of Pentacles. There's a lack there. And that's the Eight of Swords. That's the thing holding you back. But what if this doesn't? You're already missing out. Like, that's the thing. Like, you're afraid of missing out. But when you hold back, you're missing out. Make it make sense. So, you need a Queen of Wands this shit. And do what feels good to your soul first and foremost. And if partaking in whatever this is does that, then so be it. You need to make sure that you are engaging in this form of self-expression, whatever it is for you. Alrighty. I think that's it. That was the message. So, I think that this is something that you battled with over Leo season, where you felt like you were gonna step up to the plate, and then it still waffled. That's where the in and out, in and out, in and out came from. And they're like, because Leo season is the time for you to shine. It's the time for you to do what you want for you. It is to me, it is the fiery season. It's the sun. It was time for you to step into the sunlight and into the spotlight, they just said. And you hesitated. You got 5 days left. You can choose. You can choose to take the energy of this season into the remainder of your life. Harness it, use it, wash yourself clean, wash away the burdens. Okay? Sacrifice the ego. Know that you belong and accept that a new day can dawn. And just surrender to the flow. Let things be what they are. Right, I'm going to wrap that up. I hope this found whoever it's meant for. I hope you have a fantastic and wonderful day. And I will see you guys at the next reading.